Welcome to G Fun Facts Online, the show that unpacks the fascinating science and history behind your world. Today, we're talking about movies. Ever streamed a film and felt like a scene was missing, or heard that the version in another country was totally different? You've stumbled into one of the biggest, most complex debates of our time: freedom of speech versus film censorship. And in the age of instant streaming, that debate has gone into overdrive. The flickering images once confined to your local cinema are now beamed directly into your pocket. But what gets cut before it reaches your screen? The story of film censorship is almost as old as film itself. Let's rewind the tape. Back in the early 20th century, as movies became a powerful new force, so did the fear of their influence. In the United States, this led to the infamous Hays Code in the 1930s. This was basically a rule book for Hollywood. Think about it: a world where criminals could never be shown to win, where even a long kiss was forbidden, and where controversial topics were simply erased from the script. This code shaped what Americans saw for decades. Other countries had their own versions. The UK had its classification board, while totalitarian regimes in Germany and the Soviet Union turned film into a powerful propaganda tool, crushing any story that dared to challenge the state. After World War II, things started to change. A landmark 1952 U.S. Supreme Court ruling declared that movies were a form of artistic expression, protected by the First Amendment. This was huge. It wasn't just a business anymore. It was art. This eventually led to the end of the Hays Code and the birth of the MPAA rating system in 1968. The G, P, G, R, and North Carolina 17 ratings we all know today. The goal shifted from outright banning content to simply giving parents a heads up. Now, fast forward to today. The gatekeepers have changed. Streaming platforms like Netflix and Amazon Prime Video are the new Hollywood studios, but they operate on a global scale. This is where it gets tricky. How do you release a single film in over 190 countries, each with its own unique cultural norms, laws, and ideas about what's offensive? The answer, often, is a new kind of self-censorship. To get access to a massive market like China, with its strict government controls, a studio might edit its own film before anyone else even sees it, cutting scenes or changing plot points to ensure a release. But it's not just governments. The very algorithms that recommend what you should watch next are a new, subtle form of gatekeeper. They are designed to show you what's popular and commercially viable. So what happens to the weird, challenging, independent film that doesn't fit the mold? It might get buried, censored not by a committee but by code. This brings us to the core arguments, and they're as relevant as ever. On one side, proponents of censorship argue it's a necessary tool to protect society, and especially children, from genuinely harmful content like graphic violence or hate speech. They believe a society has the right to set standards. On the other side, champions of free speech argue that censorship is a slippery slope. They believe art should be free to explore difficult, uncomfortable, and controversial ideas without fear. If you start cutting out the challenging parts, you risk creating a bland, sanitized culture and suppressing important conversations. It also forces many creators to censor themselves, avoiding risky topics just to avoid the backlash. So, what's the future of this debate? As technology like artificial intelligence gets better at content moderation, the lines will only get blurrier. We're left with some huge questions. How do we protect viewers while still defending artistic freedom on a global stage? And will the power of global markets lead to a world of generic one-size-fits-all movies? Or will it open the door to an even greater diversity of stories? Finding that middle ground is the great challenge of our time. So the next time you press play, remember the invisible journey that film took to get to you. The arguments, the edits, and the compromises. Because the debate over what we see on screen is really a reflection of our values, and that's a story that is still being written, Thanks for listening to G Fun Facts Online.